Welcome back to Horrifying Stories. This week's video features a compilation of short stories about animal attacks that are no less than horrifying. Like in all our videos, viewer discretion is advised. It was a Saturday morning, October 3, 2015 at Choteau in Montana, USA. The weather wasn't exactly great that day. It had been snowing and raining with wind speeds that recorded around 30 to 40 miles per hour. However, it didn't stop 26-year-old Chase Delwo and his 30-year-old brother Shane from pushing through with their bow hunting activity. The two brothers decided to split up when they saw a pack of elks nearby. Chase trailed up a narrow stream that had dried up, heading closer to where the elks were in an attempt to lure the pack to the ridge, where Shane would position himself for a shot. Not long after, around 8 to 10 minutes into his walk, Chase heard a bull elk's bugle. Not wanting to miss the opportunity, Chase walked faster so they wouldn't lose their game. He was so fixed on getting to the elks faster that he wasn't aware of the danger he was about to get himself into. Just 3 feet in front of him was a male grizzly bear, around 400 pounds, sleeping. Chase immediately stopped at the sight of the bear. With his arrow loaded onto the bow, Chase stepped back as lightly and quietly as he could, hoping he didn't wake the bear up. But after 2 or 3 steps, the grizzly came charging at him. Things escalated so quickly, he didn't even at least get the chance to draw his bow back. Chase found himself down on the ground with the bear on top of him, biting his head. Not long after, the bear released his head from its sharp teeth but remained on top of him as the bear gave out a deafening roar. The loudest roar Chase has ever heard. Surprisingly, the bear stood up and slowly walked away. To his relief, Chase carefully sat up, but just as he thought he could now escape, the grizzly came charging back at him and bit his lower right leg. With his leg inside the bear's mouth, the bear shook Chase and tossed him. Then, as if playing around with him, the bear came charging at him again. At that point, a thought suddenly came to mind. He recalled an article that his grandmother had given him many years back. The article wrote that large animals have bad gag reflexes. So, right at that instant, without further thought, Chase immediately forced his right arm into the bear's throat. And indeed, the article proved itself. Finally, the bear left him at once. As soon as Chase was sure the bear had gone far, despite still being in a state of confusion, he got up and started walking. He was covered in blood, and kept trying to wipe the blood that was dripping over his eyes. He struggled but remained focused in getting to where Shane was. Chase knew it was no time to panic. As he reached the end of the stream, he looked up and saw Shane at the ridge. Chase managed to lift his bow and waved it at Shane. Apparently, Shane thought Chase had already caught his game, but it was not until Chase told him that he had been attacked by a bear that he immediately ran towards him to check his injuries. The first thing Shane did was to ascertain that there were no major injuries on his abdomen or back, as those are most critical. As soon as he confirmed that there was none, he rushed Chase to the nearest hospital, at Benefice Teton Medical Center. Shane's presence of mind during that time was remarkable. Along the way, he called the hospital ahead and notified them of the situation and his brother's condition. So when they arrived, hospital staff had already been waiting for them outside and immediately brought Chase inside. As nurses and doctors attended to Chase, Shane then called up Becca, Chase's wife, who rushed to the hospital immediately after the call. Becca felt so relieved and thankful her husband was able to survive the horrifying ordeal and was now out of the woods, because of the utmost attention and care that Chase has received from the medical professionals and hospital staff. As for Chase, he sustained multiple injuries in his head, face, and deep puncture wounds on his right leg. His left eye was bruised and swollen. His sustained wounds required a total of more than 100 stitches and staples. But this grisly encounter won't stop him from bow hunting. Apparently, it was not Chase's first close encounter with a bear. He had quite a number of close calls with bears already, some of them already charging right at him, but it hasn't gone closer than 20 yards away. not until that day. Although Chase wasn't able to bring with him bear spray, he believes that even if he had the spray, he still wouldn't have had the time to shoot the spray like how it had been with his bow and arrow. However, despite these, Chase and his wife still think carrying bear spray is a must. In Union Grove, Alabama, on December 1, 2010, Frank Harms had just walked a stray dog and returned it to its owner, who lived in the Greenbrier Cove not too far from their family's property. As he headed back to his home, he again passed through the thick woods that separated the cove from the cliff where their property was situated. Initially, the short trek back was uneventful until suddenly, he saw before him a tan panther, at a distance of around 10 feet. In a matter of seconds, the panther cut the distance in half as it swiftly moved and was now 5 feet before Frank. Immediately, he struck the panther with his foot, hoping it would retreat, but what happened next was the exact opposite. The panther extended its legs and reached for Frank's right leg with its sharp claws. Knowing the dangers, without second thoughts, Frank grabbed the knife he got as an anniversary gift from his wife the previous month and immediately stabbed the panther on its front leg. At once, it turned away from Frank, and to seal it off, Frank went for another stab at its hindquarter before the panther took off and escaped. Fortunately, Frank has always worn multiple layers of clothing whenever he goes outside, as he had been disabled with orthopedic issues brought about by his sudden 13-inch increase in height when he was a teen. This health issue had an impact on blood circulation, making him extremely sensitive to cold temperatures. Yet despite the 3 layers of pants he was wearing at that time, insulated coveralls, inner pair of jeans and flannel pajamas, the panther's sharp claws ripped through all of them. Frank sustained 3 slashes that were around 5 inches long in his right leg. The middle slash being the worst, as it almost reached up to his tibia. On top of the wounds he obtained, Frank's legs had also been bruised, a clear evidence of the sheer strength this animal holds despite the brief encounter. As soon as he arrived at their home, they contacted the ER but had been declined for the day and had only been accommodated the following day. At Marshall Medical Center North's emergency room, the doctor initially advised against anti-rabies shots, citing he needed to secure a recommendation from the health department before administering the shots. He had hesitated, since an adverse reaction to the shots might cause greater harm than the chances of being infected with rabies from the claw scratch. By Sunday night, 4 days after the horrifying encounter, Frank started feeling fatigued and was suffering from delayed shock. The doctor had advised him to take a bed rest. On Monday morning, an Alabama Department public health official called up and advised that he will send the recommendation letter to the hospital, so Frank could have the shots. Frank had to undergo 5 sessions with a pair of shots each, one in the arm and the other in the rump. As with his attacker, most would say it is impossible to see panthers in the area, but Frank has never been more sure that it was indeed a panther. He described it as roughly around 3 feet tall or 7 feet long and seemed to be either old or starving. To end any speculation, the Alabama Department of Conservation obtained the knife used by Harms when he stabbed the panther and submitted it for DNA testing. Apparently, not a single trace of blood had been found in the knife, probably since Frank had already cleaned his knife many times with alcohol after the attack. Although nothing has been scientifically confirmed yet, authorities have made it clear that they do not totally discount the presence of panthers in the area. As soon as conclusive evidence is established, however, more people will realize the danger lurking around. Thank you for making it this far. If you like this video, please click the like button and subscribe to our channel. Let us know in the comments below what you think about the 2 animal attacks, and if you or someone you know also have experienced any scary animal encounters. Again, thank you and see you on the next one.